Steve McQueen rode one, so did Marlon Brando and George Formby. From rock stars in Los Angeles to Hells Angels in Urmston, the bike has always been an expression of individuality, an existential gesture, a sexual signifier. Well, maybe not to George Formby. And with the bike comes the baggage. It means leathers, it means loud music, it means holidays in the Isle of Man. So hold tight and enjoy the ride.
TT is the last bastion of true road heroism. What you've actually got is a group of people who put aside all of any notion of their own personal safety and go absolutely ballistic around public roads. Riding a TT course is one of the biggest thrills you can get in motorcycling because it's steeped in history, and you know that bonkers old fellas wearing leather Macintoshes went round there probably faster than you're going on your 1997 Super Duper sports bike.
Be careful, George. It's not a dirt track, it's dangerous over the mountains, and you will watch out on those stands, won't you?
I'll be all right. I'll follow it to the lad.
There's hundreds and thousands of bikers down there and people just congregating in one place. When somebody comes along and does a wheelie, the whole place just erupts.
A few people will probably write the bikes off this afternoon, but
you can't criticise them either because it's their only opportunity to become a racer.
You can do 170 miles an hour down the mountain section of the TT, which is a very, very extraordinary feeling.
When there's people coming past you and they're out of control, you know, I'm nervous, and I'm nervous of being wiped out by somebody.
You got to balls like a bull, you know, you've got to be like really tough.
People get hurt on racetracks, but people get very hurt at the TT.
the atmosphere...
Oh, shit.
Hang on.
That's because they were watching what we were doing.
You get so much more passion involved in motorcycling than there is in anything else. When you ride a bike, you're actually saying, I am an infinitely more potent human being than somebody in a car. I have the capacity to control a machine which very few people in Britain can actually take charge of.
I mean, there are some people who think, horrid motorbikes, oily, dirty things. And there are other people who just think they're the coolest thing on earth.
It's become a lot more visible for reasons of fashion and cool and making a statement about yourself.
A lot of people want to experience something a bit different, a bit exciting, a bit adventurous, and a bike can do that.
I think in traditional society, a lot of people sort of look down on bikers, and there's this connotation that, yes, they all have beer bellies and they're scruffy and whatever, and they've got the dirty leathers. But I think within biking culture, the real biking culture, you know, if you've got a beer belly, hell, you've probably been drinking more than a lot of them. It's sort of a way of proving yourself almost. I mean, they have a different values about what's important.
We go to the pub, grab our bikes and get pissed.
My son's about, and actually about having a good time. Just do what we please, do what we want, where we want.
We're a close-knit, big family that looks out for each other.
Backpatch clubs are still probably the purest form of a motorcyclist.
Pure is not by a long shot, no. Not after last night, anyway.
Take your Ducati boy and you take your commuter fella and you take a backpatch bloke, chop him down the middle. The one that would come out leaking oil would still be the guy wearing the denim vest over the top of his leathers.
They're sort of like modern-day knights. They look quite fearsome, but they're absolute gentlemen.
Well, there are once again rumours about that sort of thing. They've got to wear the same pair of leather stripes at all times. They don't wash.
Of course we wash our fucking clothes.
We are civilised, you know.
Yeah, I have a bath, you know.
I think a lot of people get into the motorcycling subculture because it is sort of putting two fingers up to society. They're making a statement saying, I don't want to live in traditional society. I've got my own way of doing things. I've got freedom. I'm, you know, wild at heart.
Yeah, you sort of get that rebelly little feel like, you know, don't mess with me.
Hiya, Andrea. Hiya. Gone for 2 weeks. Oh, see, it's like yesterday.
I'm a nail technician, manicurist and pedicurist, which is quite a feminine job. And the ladies and gentlemen that I do, they think it's really good that I do ride a motorbike because it's something maybe deep down they've always would have loved to have done.
It probably does more for the person that's riding it than the motorcycle itself. In other words, you sit on this thing, you are a lot sexier for doing that.
Within the 20 minutes of leaving my house and going to work, it gives me a thrill because people are looking and I'm feeling really good, because it is pretty impressive, got to admit.
The arseholes that are riding Harleys these days just boggle my brain. Because all they do is they ride up and down the places where people can see them and see what they're doing.
Being British, I don't really like the Harley thing, because it's just simply not British.
Here they are, right? Just people, like in the 40s and 50s, you know what I mean? Oh, I've got 10 grand to spare, what should I do with it? I'm a bit bored. Oh, I'll buy an Harley.
Harleys are sometimes called a midlife revival tonic, and I say yes, they are.
Now that I've only got another year to go before I'm 40, I'm going into hospital next week to have my breast done. I think I'm having a very bad midlife crisis.
My bike's like that because I can't afford an Harley.
Put on your red dress, baby. Lord, we going out tonight.
This is an absolutely typical superbike. What you've got here is something that's designed from the back end, which is what you'll see most of the time, right up to the front, to make everybody who looks at it think that it's well fast.
People who ride sports bikes, no, it's not about image, it's about lifestyle and adrenaline, thrills. I remember the first time I was on the back of somebody else's bike. We were doing, I think it was 240 kilometres an hour, which is about, I think, 115 miles per hour. And I remember then looking at the ground, whizzing by, and as my feet left the pegs and I got thrown all over the place, just thinking, God, I must be mad.
Speed is essential, yeah. It's the speed, it's the open road.
For a lot of people, it's hugely, hugely important. And of course, it's also hugely, hugely illegal.
On the road, if I'm doing 120, what's going through my mind is where the police are, actually.
It doesn't register. Once you get above 160 miles an hour, it doesn't register anyway.
The slightest mistake at high speed, and, you know, you could lose it. So you have to be very, very focused.
What you get is a grey blur and a greenish blur off to the sides. And so all you've got to try and do is stay on the grey blur.
It's an adrenaline rush, and of course we know people can get addicted to adrenaline.
You push the bike further and faster into the corner the next time, and it gives you more adrenaline, and then the next time, then more adrenaline, and it's so addictive.
You've got to have a bit of a trouser loading experience every now and again to really lift your motorcycling. Motorcycles in film, it's a very easy way to bang an image of somebody who is trying to rebel or be cool. Put the Fonz on a motorbike, that was dead easy. I mean, okay, I'm not saying everybody wants to be like Fonz, but he was being portrayed as archetypal cool, and therefore he had to have a motorcycle. If you look at Marlon Brando in The Wild One, I mean, that actually defined motorcycling as a cool activity. I mean, set in stone forever as a cult, timeless icon. There's a short film that's just been made with Tamara Beckwith and Eddie Temple Tudor, chap who used to be in that band donkeys years ago. They have made a movie about how the bike is the big pulling factor in a series of relationships.
The whole process I'd gone through was to get the bike. That was obviously the ultimate goal, regardless of what I had to do in the middle.
It wasn't me she wanted, it was the bike.
Biking is a massive bloody pose for an enormous amount of people. all they want to do is be seen on the motorbike.
If you listen to a biker talk about getting on that bike, first thing it's a bit cold, revving it up, taking it carefully, gently, and then getting it up to full throttle, there's sort of an implication there that it's like making love to a woman.
Well, it's a massive engine capable of going 200 miles an hour, throbbing between your legs.
Very, very similar feelings go through your body.
There's a point where it all comes together and you're riding very fast and you transcend beyond the state of going, I am controlling a mechanical object. You go to, this is an exquisite pleasure. Even just looking at it makes you just kind of want to sort of stroke it like that. You just want to give it a bit of a, oh, yeah.
They do like it, women do like motorbikes.
I've never pulled chick in 20 odd years just on the point of riding a bike. But then again, I don't know, I might be ugly.
It's pretty rare, but there are some people who actually get sexual satisfaction from riding a bike. You can have a fetish about anything, and for some people it is a real turn-on to the point of climax.
Me personally, I treat it like a tool, even though it's a loving tool. These will ride one-handed at 80 mile an hour, so you've no troubles, no backaches, no arm aches.
To a lot of people, it isn't a motorcycle. It's moved beyond being an intimate experience. I mean, it's a motorbike with central locking. It's also a motorbike with a hot and cold heater. It's got a radio. It's got a cassette player.
So I can listen to my kind of music.
I'm not buttoned down with Barry Manilow.
I'm just trying to think what else there is. That was the cigarette lighter, obviously, because, of course, this is one of the few bikes where you can actually smoke a tab and you won't get all the ash in your eye. You've got cruise control, which means that you can, in fact, sit in the back seat reading a newspaper and the bike will just ride itself along.
The only thing about sitting in a sidecar, people laugh at you. And I don't know why they laugh, whether they think it's a funny sight or...
George and Mildred all over again.
They are very much a love-hate thing, or no, not even that. They're not even a love-hate thing. They are a be impressed or think, nah, wanker.
There's no other form of transport quite like it. Maybe if you flew everywhere in a stump plane, then you'd get the same sort of buzz, but otherwise.
And I love it. It's my baby. It's always there for me.
You've got to ride one or go on the back of one to experience it. You know, once you've been on one, it's in your blood, that's the end of the story.
It's what I get up in the morning for, I eat my breakfast for, it's what I go to sleep for, it's everything, it's my life. Motorcycling is my life.
Neil Hudson goes pole! Pole position for Neil Hudson! He has snatched it away from all the favourites. He has done what he did last.